It all started as a joke, one of those stupid dares that seem harmless at the time but spiral into something you never saw coming. My best friend, Rachel, had always been the adventurous one, the kind of person who could talk anyone into anything with just a smirk and a raised eyebrow.
Me?
I was the cautious one, the overthinker, the guy who triple-checked his seatbelt before a road trip. But that night, after one too many drinks and a lot of laughter, I found myself agreeing to something I never would have considered sober. "I dare you to spend the whole weekend dressed as a woman," she had said, her eyes twinkling with mischief. At first, I laughed it off.
Me?
In a dress? The idea was ridiculous. But then the alcohol whispered in my ear, and the competitive part of me, the part that hated backing down from a challenge, kicked in. Before I knew it, I was nodding, and Rachel was clapping her hands together like she'd just won the lottery. The next morning, I woke up with a pounding headache and a sinking feeling in my stomach as the memory of the bet came rushing back. Rachel, of course, was already at my door, a shopping bag in hand and a grin that said she wasn't letting me off the hook. Inside the bag was everything I'd need: a sleek black dress, stockings, heels, a wig, even makeup. "No backing out now," she said, and I groaned, rubbing my temples. The transformation was strange. Rachel was surprisingly skilled with makeup, her fingers deft as she applied foundation, blush, and eyeliner. The wig, a shoulder-length auburn style, felt foreign against my scalp, but when I looked in the mirror, I barely recognized myself. The dress hugged my frame in ways I wasn't used to, the stockings smooth against my legs, the heels forcing me to walk with an unsteady sway. "Not bad," Rachel said, stepping back to admire her work. "You clean up pretty." I rolled my eyes, but there was a weird flutter in my chest, a mix of embarrassment and something else I couldn't quite name. The plan was simple. I had to keep the outfit on for the entire weekend, no exceptions. No changing back, no chickening out. Rachel would be my chaperone, making sure I didn't cheat. And that's how I found myself walking into a cafe that afternoon, my heart pounding as I prayed no one would look too closely. At first, it was terrifying. Every glance in my direction felt like an accusation, every laugh a potential mockery. But as the hours passed, something shifted. No one seemed to notice, or if they did, they didn't care. I ordered a coffee, made small talk with the barista, even got a polite smile from an older woman at the next table. The world kept turning, and I was just me but different. By the second day, the initial fear had faded into something like curiosity. I caught myself adjusting to the rhythm of the clothes, the way the dress swished when I walked, the click of the heels on pavement. Rachel, ever the instigator, decided to up the ante by dragging me to a small boutique, insisting I needed the full experience. That's where things took a turn. I was browsing through a rack of blouses, half amused, half mortified, when Rachel suddenly grabbed my wrist. Before I could react, there was a sharp click, and cold metal clamped around my wrist. I stared. Rachel held up the other end of the handcuffs, now locked around her own wrist, her grin widening. "What the hell?" I hissed, yanking my arm. The cuffs didn't budge. "Relax," she said, waving a key in front of my face before tucking it into her bra. "It's part of the game. You're stuck with me now." Panic shot through me. This wasn't part of the deal. Being dressed up was one thing, but being physically restrained? In public? My face burned as I imagined the scene we must have made. Two women, well, one woman and one very unconvincing imposter, handcuffed together in the middle of a store. Rachel, of course, was loving it. She dragged me through the aisles, humming to herself as I stumbled along, my free hand clutching my purse like a lifeline. Every time I tried to protest, she just shushed me and pointed out some new piece of clothing like this was completely normal. Then came the real problem. The key was gone. Somehow, between the lingerie section and the checkout counter, it had slipped out of Rachel's bra. We tore through her clothes, my face growing hotter by the second, but it was nowhere to be found. "Okay," Rachel said, her confidence wavering for the first time. "This is not ideal." Understatement of the year. We rushed back to her car, my mind racing. How are we going to explain this? A locksmith? The police? The idea of explaining to an officer why I was handcuffed in a dress made me want to sink into the earth. Back at her apartment, we tried everything, picking the lock with a bobby pin, soap, even a small screwdriver. Nothing worked. Rachel was starting to sweat, her earlier amusement replaced by genuine worry. "We might have to call someone," she admitted. I groaned, burying my face in my hands. Then, as if the universe had decided to throw me one tiny mercy, the handcuff around Rachel's wrist suddenly loosened. She blinked, twisting it, and it slipped right off. We stared at each other. It was faulty, she guessed. I didn't care. The second my own cuff was off, I collapsed onto her couch, exhausted. The rest of the weekend passed in a blur. I kept the dress on for the bet, but Rachel was noticeably less mischievous after the handcuff incident. By Sunday night, as I finally changed back into my normal clothes, I expected to feel nothing but relief. But as I folded the dress and placed it back in the bag, I hesitated. It had been terrifying, embarrassing, absurd, but also exhilarating. For the first time in my life, I'd experienced the world differently, and part of me wasn't ready to let that go. Rachel must have seen the look on my face, because she smirked and said, "So, same time next weekend?" And for the first time, I didn't say no. The week after the incident passed in a strange haze. Every time I closed my eyes, I could still feel the weight of the dress, the pinch of the heels, the cold metal of the cuffs around my wrist. It should have been a relief to go back to normal, jeans, sneakers, the comforting anonymity of my usual self, but instead, I felt restless. Rachel, of course, noticed. She always did. "You're thinking about it again," she said over coffee on Thursday, stirring her latte with a knowing smirk. I shrugged, trying to play it cool. "About what?" She rolled her eyes. "Oh, please. You've been staring into space all week. Admit it, you liked it." I opened my mouth to protest, but the words died before they could leave my throat. Because the truth was, I had liked it. Not the handcuff part. That had been a nightmare, but the rest of it? The way the fabric moved, the way people treated me differently, the way it felt like stepping into a secret version of myself I hadn't even known existed. Rachel leaned forward, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "So, what's the verdict? Are we doing it again?" I hesitated. Then, before I could second-guess myself, I nodded. Her grin was electric. This time, we were smarter about it. No handcuffs. Rachel swore she'd thrown them away, though I had my doubts. No crowded cafes or risky public outings, at least not yet. Instead, we started small. Her apartment, just the two of us, with the curtains drawn and the world safely locked outside. She had way more clothes than I'd realized. Dresses in every color, skirts that flared when I spun, blouses with delicate lace trim that made my fingers tremble when I touched them. And the shoes, God, the shoes. Strappy sandals, sleek pumps, knee-high boots that clicked satisfyingly against the hardwood floor. "You're a natural," Rachel said as I wobbled my way across the living room in a pair of stilettos. I snorted. I look like a baby deer learning to walk. Yeah, but a cute baby deer. I stuck my tongue out at her, but inside, my chest swelled at the compliment. The makeup was easier this time, too. Less panic, more fascination as Rachel showed me how to blend eyeshadow, line my lips, dust my cheeks with just enough blush to look alive. When she handed me the wig, the same auburn one from before, I didn't hesitate before pulling it on. And then there I was, staring at a version of myself that felt right in a way I couldn't explain. Rachel must have seen something in my expression because she didn't tease me this time. She just squeezed my shoulder and said, softly, "You good?" I swallowed hard. Yeah, I'm good. The next step was inevitable. "We should go out," Rachel said the following weekend, as if she were suggesting we grab burgers instead of appending my entire sense of self. I froze mid-sip of my coffee. "What?" "Not like clubbing or anything," she said, waving a hand. "Just a walk. Maybe that little park by your place. It's always quiet there." My stomach twisted. The idea of stepping outside like this, fully dressed, fully her, sent a jolt of fear through me. What if someone recognized me? What if they laughed? What if? Hey. Rachel's voice cut through the spiral. We don't have to, but I think you'd like it. I took a shaky breath. Then, before I could chicken out, I nodded. The park was as quiet as she'd promised. Just a few dog walkers, an older couple on a bench, the distant sound of kids playing near the fountain. No one looked twice as we strolled down the path, my arm linked with Rachel's for balance and moral support. The breeze ruffled the hem of my sundress, pale yellow, Rachel's pick, and for the first time, I didn't feel like I was wearing a costume. I just felt like me. Told you, Rachel murmured, squeezing my hand. I didn't answer. I didn't trust my voice not to crack. By the time we got back to her apartment, the high of the outing was still buzzing under my skin. I didn't want to take the wig off. Didn't want to wipe away the makeup or step out of the dress. Rachel watched me carefully as I lingered in front of the mirror, tracing the outline of my lips with one finger. You know, she said slowly, if you wanted to keep doing this, you could. I met her eyes in the reflection. Not just on weekends, she added. Whenever you want. My breath caught. The offer hung between us, huge and terrifying and exciting. I turned to face her, my heart pounding. Yeah, I said. I think I'd like that. Rachel's smile was brighter than I'd ever seen it. Cool, she said. Then let's go shopping. And just like that, the world opened up. Shopping with Rachel was an experience. I'd expected nervous glances and hesitant choices, but she marched into the boutique like she owned the place, dragging me behind her with the confidence of a general leading troops into battle. This, she declared, holding up a sleek emerald green dress, is you. I blinked. It's not even my size. She rolled her eyes. Obviously we'll find your size. But look at the cut, the way it nips at the waist, the way the skirt flares. It's elegant but playful. Perfect for you. I reached out, running my fingers over the fabric. It was softer than I expected. Rachel was already moving, plucking blouses off racks, holding up skirts against my hips, muttering about color palettes and seasonal tones like she was some kind of fashion oracle. I let her guide me, too overwhelmed to argue. Then came the moment of truth, the fitting room. I stood in front of the mirror, staring at my reflection in the green dress. It fit perfectly. The way the fabric draped, the way the neckline framed my collarbones, it was like the dress had been made for me. Rachel whistled. Damn. You're killing it. A saleswoman poked her head in to check on us. Oh. That color is stunning on you, she said, nodding approvingly before disappearing again. No suspicion. No double takes. Just a genuine compliment, given without a second thought. Something warm and bright unfurled in my chest. We left the store with 3 dresses, 2 skirts, a handful of blouses, and a pair of heels Rachel insisted I absolutely needed. My wallet was significantly lighter, but I couldn't bring myself to care. Back at my apartment, I hung everything up carefully, smoothing out non-existent wrinkles. Rachel flopped onto my bed, watching me with an amused smile. So, she said, popping the O, what's the plan now? I hesitated. What do you mean? I mean, are we just doing this for fun, or? She trailed off, leaving the question hanging. I sat down next to her, picking at a loose thread on my comforter. The truth was, I didn't know. This had started as a joke, then morphed into something thrilling, then into something that felt important. But putting a name to it? That was terrifying. Rachel nudged me with her shoulder. You don't have to figure it all out today. Just think about it. I nodded, grateful for the out. The next few weeks passed in a blur of small experiments. I started wearing subtle makeup to work, just a touch of concealer, a hint of mascara. No one noticed. Then came a pair of androgynous women's jeans, a blouse that could pass as menswear if you squinted. Still, no comments. It was exhilarating. Rachel became my partner in crime, texting me links to cute outfits, showing up at my door with new lipsticks to try. We had movie nights where I dressed up just because I could, where she taught me how to walk in heels without wobbling, how to twist my hair into loose curls. Then came the day I looked in the mirror and realized I didn't see a man in a dress anymore. I saw her. The first time I said it out loud, We were at Rachel's kitchen table, half drunk on cheap wine. "I think I might be trans," I whispered, like it was a secret. Rachel didn't miss a beat. She just reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "I know," she said softly. And just like that, the world didn't end. The ceiling didn't collapse. Rachel didn't laugh or call me crazy. She just knew. Coming out to everyone else was harder. My parents needed time. A few friends drifted away. Work was complicated. But Rachel was there through all of it, handing me tissues after the bad days, cheering me on through the good ones. And when I finally stood in front of the mirror in my own apartment, no wig, no borrowed clothes, just me in a sundress with my own freshly styled hair, she was the one who took the photo, the one who framed it, the one who whispered, "Look at you. You're home." And for the first time in my life, I really was. The handcuffs resurfaced a year later, tucked into the back of Rachel's closet. She held them up with a wicked grin. For old time's sake, I snatched them away, laughing. Not a chance. But I kept them anyway. A reminder of where it all began. Of the night a stupid dare led me to myself. And really, what's a better souvenir than that? Thank you so much for watching till now. It means the world to have you here. This community is all about empowering each other and celebrating the incredible journeys of everyone on their path to living authentically. If you're ever feeling lost or alone, remember you have a whole family here for you. Hit that subscribe button. Smash that like button. And let's keep inspiring each other, sending you all the love and strength in the world. Until next time, live your life by your rules.